Hello, guys, and welcome back to League One predictions. We are back again with Benjamin Bloom predicting League One for this weekend. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Anything interesting to talk about in League One in midweek, Matt?
Let's get those scores up straight away, where I can reveal, Ben, you did beat me 11-9. So pretty decent
week for both of us, yeah.
Ben's closed the gap a little bit, but look at those scores. Leyton Orient, a 6-2 away win, and Stevenage winning at Wrexham. And Ben, Birmingham City are really starting to pull away as well now.
Yep. I mean, it's a discussion of we've said most of the season when, not if. And, you know, Wrexham have been fantastic. Wycombe have been fantastic, but just we're always going to struggle to keep pace. And Matt, I'll ask you, and we'll ask the people in the comments, are Leyton Orient the informed team, not in League One, but in the entire 92 at the moment? You can only really compare Liverpool with them at the moment, can't you, on the results they're knocking out?
They have to be.
But Walsall maybe a few weeks ago, but they had a defeat at the weekend as well, didn't they?
Yeah, so maybe in midweek, Leyton Orient have taken the crown off them now. But yeah, incredible, Ben, because obviously we followed League One this season and we've seen them go from a relegation scrap into the playoff places now. And this form continues. Who knows where they get to, but they've just sneaked into the top six.
We did say, Matt, when they were down there, we did say, this doesn't feel right, does it? It looks like they're playing quite well and it's going to turn. I'm not saying I thought it was going to turn like this. My God, but they're into the top six now as well. Amazing. Leyton Orient, take a bow.
And today, Ben, we're going to be predicting them against fifth place Stockport. So that's a big game. And Orient fans will be looking forward to next week where they play Manchester City in the FA Cup at home.
And the whole country's going to be supporting them as well.
God, who knows what could happen? Who knows? Guys, we'll get into the predictions in a second. Before we do that, please be sure to support us. Do hit the like button. If you haven't already, drop a like, support this video, and make sure to subscribe over here and subscribe to Benjamin Bloom as well. The first link in the description. If you've already checked out my Premier League and Championship predictions and you haven't checked out Benjamin Bloom's, be sure to do so. Ben, let's get into the League One predictions, where I'm going to let you start with Barnsley versus Burton.
I don't know what you're going to say for this one. This is hard all of a sudden, isn't it? Because Burton have won 3 on the trot. I was listening to the excellent Ali and George on Not the Top 20, and this was before midweek, and they were talking about, okay, they've just gone back to basics, and it's a little bit more kind of League One, let's just say idiosyncratic football, rather than, you know, trying to play out from the back. And whoop-de-doo, they've started winning. And they're off to Barnsley, aren't they? Are they away, Matt?
So, yeah, Barnsley are at home, Burton away.
And Barnsley are just erratic, and they've lost 3 on the trot. So, normally, we would have Barnsley pretty hot favourites for this. Barnsley, I saw some highlights of Wycombe-Barnsley where Barnsley went down to 10 and then had 2 good chances to win the game at 1-1 before Wycombe won it late on. Oh, mate, I'm kind of pulled towards the middle with everything because, you know, you'd accept Barnsley are much higher in the table and probably have got a better squad. But the form has it going the other way. But are you going to double down on Burton 4 wins in a row, Barnsley 4 defeats in a row? I can't quite fathom that either. So I'm going to go for the draw. Burton have been very goalie, so I'll take a Desmond, Matt.
Ooh, I like it. I like going for the 2-2.
It's a hard one to start with, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you went first because, I mean, I've already written down my prediction. It's not a scribble, thankfully, but I wasn't really confident writing this down. You look at the table, Barnsley are favourites and they've got the home advantage. But you look at the form table, like you say, 3 wins in a row for Burton, 3 defeats in a row for Barnsley. I will maybe add that Barnsley, you know, really should have got something at Wycombe, like you've described. You know, they went 1-0 up, have a red card, still have those chances to win the game. I'm going to go for Barnsley, and I feel awful for the Burton fans. I'm happy if you prove me wrong again, but I'm going to go Barnsley 2-1. But then if they do win 4 in a row, Burton are all of a sudden within touching distance, actually 3 points off Northampton. So we might actually see some changes down there. The next game, Ben, Stevenage take on Exeter City. Stevenage with back-to-back wins at Oakwell and at the racecourse. Incredible. I mean, what's going on there, by the way, Ben? We associate them with low scoring, and they went to Wrexham and won 3-2.
It was just a complete outlier, wasn't it? I think the commentator said in the highlights that And someone will correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I think Stevenage had scored 4 away goals all season or something stupid like that. Then they scored 3 in one game. Stevenage, I love it. It's amazing. But the Wrexham keeper was having a nightmare, wasn't he? Just wasn't saving anything. And the first 2 goals were arguably a goalkeeping spill and then one through his hands. So maybe I'm not taking anything away from Stevenage, but maybe there's a bit of a sense of one of those away games where not only does the underdog take the lead, but then they score again and you're like, oh, hello. But yeah, fair play. And let's be quite frank about this. When Steve Evans went, having taken them all the way up from, like basically the bottom of League Two to near, top 10 in League One, you think, here comes a relegation, and just doing fantastically. But yeah, let's see where you go with this one.
Yeah, I think Ravel's done a fantastic job, kind of following in the footsteps, and maybe Stevenage can push for top 10 again. First team to win at Wrexham. And like you say, when they went 2-0 up, it was always a mountain for Wrexham to get back into that with Stevenage's good defensive numbers. Exeter, not enjoying them at the moment, Ben. Their form is poor. Obviously, they were on the end of that 6-2 defeat to Orient. I'm torn between a 1-0 or a 2-0, but given the goals we've seen in midweek, I'll go for the 2-0.
Oh, thanks. I thought I was going to have to scribble out 1-0 then. So, yeah, I'll back Stevenage. And, yeah, we mentioned Leyton Orient, but obviously Exeter were on the end of a 6-2 shellacking at home, 4-0 down at half-time. None of that smells good there. But thank you. I'll walk through that door and take the Stevenage 1-0.
Well, there you go. So both going Stevenage, though. And let's have a little look at that table again, Ben. So 7 points off the playoffs, still got a game or 2 in hand. We'll see. Birmingham City are up next, Ben. A massive win at Huddersfield Town. To beat another promotion rival is always huge. And to take 4 points on the road at Wrexham and Huddersfield is massive. They're starting to pull away. They take on Steve Evans' Rotherham. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking don't be distracted by Wycombe's points total. Look at Wrexham's points total. A lot of people are going to look at that and think, oh, look, that's tight up at the top there. But essentially, Birmingham have got an 8-point promotion cushion with 2 games in hand on Wrexham. So it doesn't, I know everyone can do maths, but it doesn't look like what it actually probably is going to end up being yet. And with Wrexham's little slip and Birmingham just miles over 2 points per game, just piling the points on. And then you even go down to Huddersfield. They've got a game in hand on Huddersfield, and they are 12 points ahead of them after that win. Great goal by Keshi Anderson, by the way. So we said this ages ago, Matt. Wait until about now, February, March. Wait, and hate to say I told you so. So it's going to be boring. I'm going to be back in Birmingham to win most weeks now. Maybe Rotherham are good for a goal. Let's go. Should we go 2-1 or 2-0? 2-0. Birmingham 2, Rotherham 0. Scribble it out, Matt.
No, 2-1 would have been a scribble. There you go. I've gone 2-1. I think, as you've just mentioned, we've been waiting for this gap to form, and they've still got those games in hand. So, we're talking about doing the maths. It could be, I know it's a could, but could be 14 points. And at that point, it seems like it's not going to go the other way. So I can imagine Birmingham rattling through the wins and almost trying to get promotion at an unprecedentedly early time of the season. There might be one slip where we least expect it, but it's going to be hard to predict it.
We're never going to get that one, are we? It'll be like a Burton or something stupid like that, won't it? Yeah.
But there you go. I'm going 2-1, so at least it's not a scribble. And Ben's got the 2-0. So we're both back in blues. Birmingham fans, do share your thoughts. Looks like we might be featuring you in the championship predictions again next season.
And Matt, I want a date. I want a date from these Birmingham fans. They're super confident, rightly so. Give me a date. Give me a game you think they'll get promotion confirmed on.
Yeah, let us know. March, April, February. Let's go to Bloomfield
That's with
Road.
great love to the rest of League One, by the way.
Yeah. Blackpool take on Charlton, Ben. Blackpool, good win in midweek. They won away at Lincoln City. I had been a little bit concerned that there's just a lot of draws, but when you stick 2 wins on the end of a drawing run, it's now an unbeaten run, isn't it, for Blackpool? They take on Charlton, who've gone 3 wins in a row. So this is a clash of 2 form teams. I'm going to back Blackpool here, Ben. I prefer Charlton slightly more at the Valley. Let's go Blackpool 2, Charlton 1.
That's really interesting. So I might play tactically here. and I might flip you to try and get an advantage in the weekly here, because Charlton have won 3 games on the trot. I'm not saying Nathan Jones is a streaky up and down manager, but we do know about Nathan Jones. When things start moving in the right direction, he's a good momentum manager, isn't he? You've always loved the 0-1 Charlton, haven't you? I'm tempted to flip you completely, Matt, and just go 2-1, but I'm going to take the 0-1. Blackpool 0, Charlton 1. That'd be 4 in a row for Charlton, and then our playoff conversation is starting to involve Bolton, and Bolton have never been out of it, but it's starting to involve Charlton once again.
Yes, and as I mentioned, we're going to come on to Leyton, Orient v Stockport in a bit, so that gives Charlton an opportunity to close into the playoff places. Next up, Ben, we've got Cambridge United versus Wycombe Wanderers. Wycombe with that crucial win over Barnsley, and I know a lot of the conversations about Birmingham and how they're opening up the gap, but we almost thought that would, we did think that would be the case, but Wycombe are now opening a gap here, Ben, and it's putting pressure on Wrexham and Huddersfield to close them down, because 6 points clear of Wrexham, 10 clear of Huddersfield. Huddersfield have a game in hand. It's been a pretty decent week for Wycombe, despite the 0-0 draw to Northampton the week before. You're up first here. They're away at Cambridge. Are you backing them to win?
Yeah, I am. There's been quite a few links with Kone going out now in the transfer window, because we're expecting Wycombe to do probably maybe 1 or 2 more in. Given what we think the kind of financial situation, and given what a chance they've given themselves of getting back into the Championship. So yeah, you've got to back them really in this one. Cambridge, I'm just looking, both teams to score in their last 3 games, so maybe they're good for a goal. So I'll take the 2-1 away win. Okay,
not a scribble, thankfully. I'm going to go for the clean sheet. I'm going to go 2-0 Wycombe.
Okay.
Cambridge kind of pull one out the air every so often. I think I said last time we met that they obviously won, but was it an outlier? It seemed to be the case, because obviously they lost again in midweek. With Wycombe Wanderers, Ben, I mean, still haven't replaced Matt Bloomfield, have they? Taken their time with it.
We've got a couple of open positions, because we're still waiting for Bolton, aren't we?
Yes, yeah. So, but Wycombe's been quite a few weeks now, isn't it?
Yeah, it has.
3 weeks or so, isn't it?
But Matt, do you remember when Nathan Jones left Luton in 2018-19? And it was roughly this time of the season. And I know you don't have like a Mick Harford figure at every club, but sometimes that was a great example of, look, this is going really, really well. Let's just keep it. I mean, it turns out they hired the wrong guy in the summer after that. But sometimes it's not the worst thing in the world, is it? Just kind of ride it out and keep the momentum going, especially when you're in an active transfer window, Matt. It's a terrible time not to have a manager, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's a very good point. But they've still been making, they've still been doing a bit of business, haven't they?
Yeah, fair point.
But it's a very good comparison you make, because Luton Town obviously went on to win League One in that 2018-19 season, didn't they? So I've done 2-1, you've done 2-0, so we're both back in Wycombe. Ben, we'll move on to the team that are chasing them down, which is Wrexham. Wrexham haven't had a good couple of results. They're away at Crawley, and Crawley stuck a win on last week to move 3 points closer to safety. Oof, I'm up first here. I'm not sure with Wrexham. I don't know if the wheels are going to come off completely, but I wonder if it might just be settling for the playoffs. We'll see. Can they bounce back? I'm going to go for my bonus point here, Ben. Crawley 2, Wrexham 3.
Wow. I like that. Yeah, I'm back in the bounce back as well. It's not any shame for anybody to be short of Birmingham this season. That's no criticism of anybody. And what the likes of Wycombe and Stockport to a certain extent are doing as well is tremendous. And then you've got that Huddersfield, especially with the attacking additions they've given in there. So I still think playoffs would be great for Wrexham, but I think they will bounce back. And I think you forget sometimes. I certainly do. I tune into Wrexham highlights to revise for this show, and I'm like, oh God, they really do have strong League One players in their squad to fight this battle, don't they? So I'll go for the bounce back. I'll go a bit more of a Wrexham-y type thing. I'll go for the clean sheet away win. I know they've not been great away, to be fair, but I'm going to use the term that triggers many football fans. It's a must-win game for Wrexham, isn't it? What do you think? 2-0 or 1-0? 1-0. Just get back on track. Crawley 0, Wrexham 1.
You're right. Yeah, just stick 3 points on the board. You never know. Wycombe, I mean, to be fair, Wrexham and Wycombe have got similar fixtures here because they're both away at a team in the bottom 4. And if one slips and the other wins, that will be crucial. So we will see. But we're both back in Wrexham. So, Ben, let's move on. It's the Orient Express. Keep winning. I mean, 6-2 at Exeter. You were saying you enjoyed some of those goals, didn't you?
Oh, 2 of them were absolute pings as well. And you know when a team is just super, super confident, you pass that football 6 feet to the right-hand side when you got no confidence. And I forget who the midfielder was, Claire. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. And then there was an absolute zinger of a volley for that. So they're trying everything. Everything's coming off. They are going to step on this pitch high on life.
Yeah. They're oozing confidence. They're at home to Stockport. Stockport have won 3 in a row as well, so they're in good form. But it doesn't quite compare to the form Orient have got at the moment, which stretches back about 10 games or so. You're up first for this, Ben.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because we love what Stockport are doing. I cannot come on here and say Leyton Orient are the form team in England and not predict that they're going to win, though, can I? So it'll be low margin if it's Stockport. I'm going to take a 2-1. Orient 2. Stockport 1. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw, but I'm going to be back in Orient every week until this runs over.
Yeah, and I've got 1-0. I'm going 1-0 Orient, which might seem a little bit low scoring after the result in midweek, but I don't think it's always going to be 6s, is it?
Stockport are really good at the back as well, yeah.
That's it. That's my lines of thinking. If you're a Stockport fan, you'd surely take a draw here. 3 wins in the row. You go away to the team just below you. You'd take a draw, surely. I mean, I'm not saying Stockport can't win it, but Orient are certainly in some incredible form. And Leyton Orient fans, let's get some of your thoughts ahead of next week, where you take on Man City at home. Interesting one, isn't it? Ben, we go to 6 fields. Northampton Town are at home to Huddersfield Town. For Huddersfield, it's not been the best couple of results, has it? Because, it's back-to-back 1-0 defeats at home. Maybe going away on the road might suit them now, and they are playing a team further down the division. Northampton are going to be feeling the pressure now, though, Ben, because the teams down at the bottom have started to put some results together. So there's a chance Northampton drop in there this weekend. And I'm going to say that chance is very real. I'm back in Huddersfield 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to back Huddersfield as well, Matt. And I think I'd be interested to hear from the Huddersfield fans, actually, on is this an automatic team or is this a playoff team? Because when you look at it, and you have back-to-back tricky games at home to Bolton. I know Bolton have been up and down this season, but it's still a good squad that's been in the playoffs for the last 100 years, hasn't it? And then the juggernaut of Birmingham, and you lose both of them. That, to me, screams playoff team. Whereas when I look at the business and, the lads going in and, taking someone like Dion Charles, who's been up at the top of the league with Bolton as well, hasn't he, and scoring tons of goals. That screams to me automatic promotion team. So I'm not quite sure where to pitch for Huddersfield. But I totally agree with your point about Northampton, because there is, my very rudimentary look at the bottom of the table, and you look at the form and you don't expect much green down at the bottom. We've said this for a couple of weeks. There is a big blob of green, certainly in Burton, a couple in Bristol Rovers. We've got wins for Crawley, Cambridge and Shrewsbury all in the past 3 games. And Northampton are the only team inside that bottom 6-7 to have not won in the past 3 games. So I will back them to go under here. Remind me your score, Matt.
2-0.
It feels like I've had so many 1-0s, mate. I quite like 2-0, actually. I'll take 2-1. Northampton 1, Huddersfield 2.
Yeah. Can I claim that as a scribble I've taken off you then?
Maybe.
That's it. It is very unforgiving down at the bottom, I will say, obviously with 4 going down, and Northampton have never felt like too safe. I suppose there was a gap, but when there's 4 teams down there, it only takes one of them to start rising and you start to feel the pressure. Ben, a game in the playoff race next. We go to Reading versus Bolton, so it's 10th versus 7th. You're up first.
I think I'm going to steal a Matt SB-ism and talk about the no manager bounce, because it's just weird, isn't it? That we've been trying to figure Bolton out forever, and you knew this was going to happen, didn't you? That Everett does go, who I still like and who I still think's a decent manager, but just time had kind of elapsed, I think, hadn't it? And then they win a couple of games and they're all high on life and it's playoffs all over again. Reading, are they now starting to miss Ruben Selles, who appears to be starting to get a tune out of Hull as well, doesn't he? And you're like, this guy's pretty good, isn't he? And you can see why they would miss him, even though they hadn't initially. So with that being said, I think I'm going to back Bolton to go and win it. How many were they won in a row? 2 in a row. So yeah, it wouldn't be unprecedented. It'd be I think it's 9 point. All those games are this week, aren't they? So I think it'd be a 9-point week for Bolton without Ian Everett. Penny for his thoughts. I will take a 1-0 in this one. Reading 0, Bolton 1.
There you go. Reading 0, Bolton 1. I've gone for the 1-1, Ben. I've not played one yet. Bolton are the form team, but I just imagine Reading have got to stop this rot at some point. So Bolton, as I just said about Charlton, if Bolton win, there's a good chance they can move into the playoffs with Orient playing Stockport this weekend. Reading only 3 points off it as well. It's really bunching up. And as I look up to 4th place as well, Ben, if Huddersfield don't start recovering because they've only won 1 in 6, they could maybe get dragged into just the playoff race instead of just, chasing the automatics down. So we'll see on that. But yeah, I'm going to go for the 1-1. Ben, another team in the playoff race are Mansfield. They've fallen off it a bit with 3 defeats in a row. They're away at Shrewsbury, where we tend to like Shrewsbury at home a bit. I'm up first. The thing is, Ben, Mansfield are not a top 2 team, so do I back Shrewsbury? They would win if they were a top 2 team.
I wondered where you go with that then.
No, I think I'm going to back Shrewsbury. I think, at home is where they're going to get their results. Let's have a look. They only lost 1-0 at Stockport, so take from that what you will, but were they in the game? Possibly. But yeah, Shrewsbury 2-1.
It's just really disappointing from Mansfield, isn't it? Because you looked at it and yeah, they lost to Wycombe and they got 3 games in a row here, Cambridge, Crawley, and then Shrewsbury. That's literally the bottom 3 in the division and they've lost the first 2. I cannot imagine if that guy who sent me a private message was upset at me predicting them drawing. I cannot imagine how upset that Mansfield fan has been with this run of results. Surely they're going to turn it here. But I do like your theory that Shrewsbury are going to see him coming, aren't they? They're going to be like, right, Mansfield are not in a good moment here. Let's hit them. Have I played a 1-1, Matt? I don't think I have I?
No.
We've been very decisive today, mate. So I am going to drop one in here. Completely no help to either team, but maybe there'll be a late goal in this one, Matt. Let's go Shrews 1, Mansfield 1.
Yeah, quite like that. It's interesting with Shrewsbury because obviously they've got a game in hand. You can't read too much into those down at the bottom. But even we've said about 24th in League One, it's a million miles away from safety. But 7 points, I know it's quite a lot down there. But if they win this, they could close it to 4. And I'm not willing to rule any of them as down yet.
Ainsworth is a wild card as well. He's a manager who could win 4 on the trot in April or something ridiculous, couldn't he?
Exactly. I know they're not winning every week, but the fact they beat Birmingham at home and Wrexham at home, they've got to mean something, those results. There is still some fight in Shrewsbury. Ben, you're up first for Wigan Athletic versus Lincoln City.
Ooh. Fancy you to go first on this one, mate. So Wigan are completely spotty. Lincoln had that massive win over Peterborough, but Peterborough are terrible and they lost to Blackpool. I am not sure about this one whatsoever. And mate, have I played my 1-1 one game too early here? Can I play 2 in a row? They're both quite low margin. I'm not getting a pattern from either of them because I'm not including Peterborough results in any patterns at the moment. Mate, I'm sorry. I'm going to play 2 1-1s back to back. Sorry, audience. I know you don't like it when we do that, but up they go. Double 1-1s. No,
I like it. It could happen. And thankfully, I've managed to go the whole show without having to scribble because I've gone 0-0. Yeah, I'm going to play the 0-0, Ben. I think we're thinking the same along here. I was surprised you didn't actually play for the 0-0 because the face you pulled when I read out the teams. I mean, not really in great form. I mean, Wigan Athletic, 2 wins in 6, but they've lost the other 4, so they're a bit stripy, aren't they? And then Lincoln City did get a couple of results, but they lost again in midweek at home to Blackpool. So struggling to make any sense out of them. Obviously, both could do with the win, but I'll play a goalless draw. So
I don't mind it,
Yeah, do share your thoughts down below. Both going for a draw on that one. And then the final game, Ben, Bristol Rovers and Peterborough. Big game down at the bottom, isn't it? Two teams hovering. Peterborough did win, so Darren Ferguson avoided the chop at this point. I don't know if I fancy them here, Ben. I mean, I'd prefer Bristol Rovers at home. I'm going to back the gas, 2-1.
So we've been waiting for Peterborough to turn the corner for months, and have they? I don't know. Was the defeat at Lincoln, is that ground zero and that's as bad as it's going to get, and that's the trough that they're going to come out of? I don't know. If it's not, they could genuinely be relegated, couldn't they? Which is insane when everybody had them in the playoff picture, given there's other teams, you know, seemingly where all seems a bit more well than at posh. Surely it's more likely, Matt, that they've turned the corner. Surely. So did you take a 2-1?
2-1 gas, yeah.
This is a direct flip then. I haven't done one yet. So I'll take 2-1 posh. A little bit of tactical play and a little bit of narrative play. But I've been wrong about Peterborough, Matt, week after week after week, thinking they're going to turn the corner. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I'll be wrong again.
No, we'll see. I quite like it. We've gone in different directions. Bristol Rovers haven't been great on the whole, but I tend to like them a bit more at home. Peterborough United, we know that they're always loose, but the fact that they've got the most goals conceded in the league is very alarming.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, God.
So 52. So we're looking at nearly 2 every game, which is incredible.
Quite hard to win when you can see 2 goals every game, isn't it?
Right, that's why I've gone 2-1 Bristol Rovers. Right, that is our League One predictions, guys. We've gone in quite a few different directions for that, so it should be interesting to see who scores more points. Be sure to play along with us, guys. Get your predictions down in the comments and make sure to support us by dropping a like and subscribing to both of us. And I urge you now to head over to Benjamin Bloom if you haven't already to subscribe. And what can they find?
They can find a couple of relegation-loving YouTubers talking about the Premier League every week. Check out the Premier League Check-In podcast. Love doing that each and every sort of Monday or Tuesday with Matt SB. And hyper awesome week. Well, for Matt, he can enjoy it. I'm terrified. Ipswich, Southampton, Everton, Leicester, or Leicester, Everton, whichever way around it. I think Everton, Leicester, I think it was right the first time. So check that out. That comes out each and every week, sort of early over on my channel. We often get a clip down Matt's channel as well, the Premier League Check-In podcast.
Yeah, so be sure to check it out. You might see myself and Ben at a football game together very soon, so look out for something on that as well. We'll be back for League One predictions next week, guys. Thank you again for all your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.